This year marks the 5th anniversary of the CRADLE. We are just 5 years after our establishment, and there were many issues confronting the community, especially in the post-pandemic period. And we were thinking, what can we do to help the Buddhist community of all traditions? I need to emphasize all traditions, especially the Theravada community where the CRADLE first started. How can we help our Dharma leaders to be more mission-focused, to be more well-trained, to be more upskilled in the way they approach Dharma outreach work? So in today's, because it is a 5th anniversary, so we have decided that perhaps a more suitable topic to talk about is about purposeful leadership. Can our Dharma leaders be more purposeful? 我们佛教领导人是不是以目标为主来搞我们的佛教活动？ So this thing about leadership is very interesting. This things about purposeful is very interesting. So I want to share one story which was actually delivered by Mark Zuckerberg during one of his commemorative speech in Harvard University. And he gave this example. I'm not sure the story is true or not, but this is an example. He says in 1962, when the president then America, John F. Kennedy, Kennedy 总统, visited NASA, and he was walking on the way to meet some of the important people, then he saw one janitor was there cleaning the place. So this is what happened. He walked over to him and said, "Hi, I'm Jack Kennedy. 我是肯尼迪总统. What are you doing?" the janitor. And the janitor responded, "Well, Mr. President, I'm putting a man on the moon." And that's what the janitor says. And this is interesting. So whether it's true or not, we do not know, but it's just as the story goes. Now, that's right. A janitor helped to put the first man on the moon. And on that one sentence, the man connected his work with the main purpose of all the NASA employees. That employee, no matter how low the level of job is, he understood he contribute to the bigger picture, which is to put the man on the moon. If he can keep a clean environment, do a conducive environment for people to work, that will help the engineers, that will help many other people who are working in NASA to basically put the first man on the moon. That's the power of purpose. Now, and this is what Mark Zuckerberg said during his speech. Purpose is that sense that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. When we talk about goal, it's about our own goal or the society goal. But when we talk about purpose, it's about our mission. It's about our vision. And that's what the purpose is all about. It's bigger than ourselves. And that we are needed. 我们整个佛教社群需要我们的存在，需要我们领导人的方向的导向 ，okay? And that purpose is something that's better ahead to work for, and purpose is what creates true happiness. So in this 5th year anniversary of us, we talk about purposeful leadership. A lot has to do with making choices. Dharma leaders must learn to make choices as they run Buddhist organizations. Otherwise, what we see in our Buddhist community is continuously we will be busy running activity every year, year after year. We take last year's program, we just repeat, cut and paste and make some minor changes, and we run. But without knowing that sometimes this is what happened. We could be like the rat, the mice, inside that wheel that keep turning and turning and turning, but we're not going anywhere. So it's very important for Dharma leaders to go back to the basic and look at what is our purpose to be a Dharma leaders? What is the purpose of us running Buddhist organization? Can we get out of that wheel, of that, the chain that we are in, so that we are able to see our purpose clearer? And for that, talking about making choices, Siddhartha Gautama made a choice to be purposeful. Actually, he could have stayed in the palace, enjoying his life as a prince, having all the luxurious things in his life. He could have done that. He could have stayed there. He could have waited until, the old king stepped down and he became the new king. He could have done that. But he chose otherwise because he has a bigger purpose that he saw beyond himself. Then after he's got his enlightenment, even after his enlightenment, he could have, Gautama Buddha could have enjoyed his bliss of nirvana until his Mahaparinibbana. But he made a choice. For the next 45 years, he gave his life to mankind. And that choice was made because he saw a bigger purpose in his life after his enlightenment. So the Buddha spent 7 days a week. The Buddha got no rest day. The Buddha spent 23 waking hours a day. 我们世界上最勤劳的就是佛陀了。每一天都在忙，但是忙为了人类而忙，为了众生而忙。And he spent 45 fruitful years doing outreach, walking from places to places, from city to city, village to village, go through the valleys and climb the mountains and go through the forest because he was trying to reach out. And he has that purpose. And if you calculate, the Buddha spent about 377,775 hours for all of us in his lifetime. Did he ever get tired? Did he get burnt out? So purposeful life gave him that energy. And even we know in the life of the Buddha, in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, even his last moments of his life, the Buddha was basically caring for a lot of people, including the last convert that we know in the story. So the Buddha lived a purposeful life because in the Ariya Pariyesana Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha mentioned that there are those with little dust in their eyes. And because of this group of people, there are little dust in their eyes. He doesn't mind even after his enlightenment for 45 years and live a purposeful life to reach out and inspire people. And we should take example and cue from the Buddha. And when we look at this individual's personality that we know, they are all very inspiring to some of us in our life. Why? When we look at some of these worldly people, they are inspiration to some of us in a different way. When we look at the monastic people, they are inspirational to us in many ways. And when we look at even some of these monks and our late chief that we know of in Malaysia, 我们达摩南多长老，我们很敬佩的达摩南多长老。Why? Because many of us, our life has been touched by him. He has inspired us a lot. And why are we inspired? Because they all live a purposeful life. Late chief could have gone back to Sri Lanka and maybe spend his life there, but he gave his whole life here. Born in Sri Lanka, but not passed away in Sri Lanka, here in Malaysia. And that's what he is, because he believed Buddhism can be revived in Malaysia. And he spent many years writing books, giving talks, talking to individuals, helping individuals so that the right Dhamma can be learned. And that's very inspirational. In fact, for all of us who know the late chief, he's like a father to all of us. That at times he gave advice, at times he's very firm in certain things, at times he shows us the way how to get it done better as a community. And that's what the late chief is. So this summit is for all of you who have attended GLAD to come as a follow-up sessions, more for us to share experience, learn from each other, and also learn from our learned monastic advisors and monks, so that we can learn from them what does it take to become a better Dharma leaders. And this session is meant to create awareness on leading with purpose, learn from the purposeful individual so that we can seek inspiration, and at the same time discuss and share ways to be inspiring leaders with a sense of purpose. 我觉得我们马来西亚佛教领导人最大的问题就是我们没有一个方向感，我们也没有一个使命感，我们只是忙着搞活动，这就是我们最大的问题。所以我们怎样能够改变？How can we change this in our community? It has to start with the Dharma leaders. Every organization, Dharma leaders have to have a paradigm shift. So, the question that all GLADians who will be attending today's session have to ask is, why do these individuals do what they do? 这是很重要的一个问题。Why do they do what they do? Why does the late chief do what he did when he was, around with us at that time? Why did Xing Yin Pastor did what he did in his lifetime? Why did Shen Yan Pastor did what he did? Things like that. We have to ask that question because that why will lead us to a very important answer. Purpose. Everyone must have a purpose. If you lead organization with a purpose, then you'll be a very inspiring leader, inspiring person in life. And that's how we hope this whole summit will be. So, for GLADians, purposeful leadership is key in inspiring many to understand that we learn in the GLAD program, suffering is optional. Happiness is a choice. We have to keep helping people to understand this mantra, if you can call it a mantra. Suffering is optional. Happiness is a choice. And that also, if we look at the sutta itself, both formally and now, the Buddha talked about previously and even now, monks, I declare only suffering and the cessation of suffering. And that should be the direction, our guiding direction, as we do Dhammadutta work. So leadership is a choice to see things purposefully, to feel things differently, and to do things significantly. That's what we need to do. And we will do a little bit of discussion today with all the breakout sessions that we have, and let's see whether we can come up with something more meaningful to share with each other. So, we all have been cradled in our life. I think it is only right for Dharma leaders to also cradle future Dharma leaders, future individuals to be inspired by the Dharma. That's our role as Dharma leaders. And for me, for the last many years, I'm very thankful to have the opportunity to learn from many learned monks, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, and even lay people. In fact, Dato Sri has been my source of inspiration since young when I got to know him, even at the schooling years. And he has been a source of inspiration to me. And he still continues to be my source of inspiration. Thank you, Dato. Yeah. So, what we need to do today is to come together and discuss some things, talk about some things, come up with some ideas, so that when we go back, we can do a lot more of paying forward act of kindness. Some of these individuals who have helped us in our life, we have no way to pay back to them. The only way we can do is to pay forward, to do things that will benefit many more people in their life. In fact, to talk about this, I want to give an analogy. The Buddha liked to use a lot of energy. If you study the sutta, he gives a lot of simile, analogies, stories, parables. I would like to give an analogy of a tree. See, many of us are like this person who walks to a big tree, and he sees this very big tree, says, wow, this tree is so magnificent. This tree is so huge. This tree is so many branches. Wow, it's a very nice big tree, beautiful big trees. And in the tree itself, there are many fruits. And he looks at the fruits. This tree could be a very old tree, but he looks at the tree, the fruits. He plucks the fruits and he eats. And he gets all the nutrients, the vitamins, the goodness from the fruits from the tree. And after he has taken those fruits, he throws it away and he walks away. Many of us are like this. This tree, the seeds was planted by our great teacher, the Buddha, many years ago, for 2,000 over years. It grows into a big, magnificent trees with branches, different traditions and branches. Fruits are hanging, everywhere. And all that we do was conveniently just pluck the fruits and eat it and get the best out of the fruits. And once we have taken the fruits, we just throw it away and we do nothing to add value to the tree. Not many of us take the seeds from the fruits that we add and plant a new tree. We don't do that. So in a sense, many of us are Dhamma consumer. We consume and we get the best out from the Buddha's hard work of planting the first seed that grows into a big tree. But we forgot as Dhamma leaders, as we pluck the beautiful fruits from the tree of Dhamma, as we eat, as we taste the Dhamma, are we planting new seeds into the ground so that more trees can grow along the way? If we don't do that, one day this tree will grow older. It will not bear any more fruits and it will die. So before that happens, I think it is very important for all of us as Buddhists, as Dhamma leaders, as we pluck the fruits from the tree to eat, let's remember to plant the seeds. Let's remember to nurture the young trees. Let's remember to let it grow so that more branches, more trees will be there. And better still, there's a forest of the fruit trees that we can see. That should be our purpose and mission as a Dhamma leaders. And not just to take care of our own organization and run activity after activity after activities. So that would be my closing message and the analogy that I give about the tree. I hope the message is clear. GLADians are no special people. You are here for a mission. You are here to go back to your respective society in various parts of the country to start planting more trees, to start seeding more seeds so that more Dhamma trees will grow everywhere. And with that, I end my message. Thank you.